Yeah. 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 Check the mic, 1, 2. This ain't no drill, this is the truth. From Rochester streets, here to veterans, youth, and the wisdom of age.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Conversations with Sarge. I am your host, Sarge, and we are brought to you by Combat News, where we put veteran policy in perspective. And today, we are blessed with the amazing Corporal Steve Shaffner. Thank you, Steve, for joining us today. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Sarge. Thanks for having me aboard. Doing great, brother. Doing great.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. And I just wanted to let everybody know that in this Conversations with Sarge, we are trying a different format. We are long ways now instead of up and down. And this podcast here is going to be one of two-part, and you will see why as we get the conversation. Before we get the conversation really in depth, Steve, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you were born, that kind of thing, before we get into the military side of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Born and raised here in Rochester, New York, February 22nd, 1963. So I've got roots here for, most of my life, other than time away in the military. And then a couple of years I stayed in California after the service. Yeah, born and raised here in Rochester, loving the snow today, right, guys? Said nobody ever, especially us long-term guys here in Rochester. Yeah, not but great. Doing well, man. I'm glad to be here with you, and this is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, people that don't know Steve is a member of our local veteran community here in Rochester, New York, in Monroe County. And I met him this year, and it was a great outdoor group that we're a part of. But we will get into all that. But before we start, what was your job in the military? It's a two-part question, okay? What was your job in the military, and why did you join the military for that job?
Oh, that's easy. I joined the Marine Corps to work on aircraft. My MOS at the time was 6026, which essentially was a T-56 turboprop engine overhaul mechanic. T-56s were on the KC-130s that the Marine Corps has squadrons of. I held a couple different MOSs. That was my primary. Then I transitioned over to which was a 6016, which was a flight line mechanic. So I was working directly flight operations day to day, getting launches, getting us up on mission. That's what I did my 4 years in. My grandpa growing up was my biggest inspiration to kind of drive me towards the military. My grandpa George was quite the character. Loved the man. He was the inspiration. I remember years and years ago, he lived in Irondequoit, and I'd go over and spend the weekends there with Grandpa George. I still have the memories of the percolating coffee. That would smell zero dark early, and Grandpa coughing because he was a 4-pack cigarette kind of guy. Old school. And he'd hand me off these World War II weekly publications he got. And I'd take them and I would just devour them. And I was always a big Marine fan, the comics and the different shows and the documentaries he would show me. So it just kind of stuck to me. And then growing up, I was always interested in aviation and space exploration. So I grew up in the right time frame. I vividly remember the landing on the moon, the other missions, the Apollo, then Tang during the early 70s, and sitting over at my great grandma's house on Waring Road watching, the space exploration going on. I'm like, oh my God, I go to my room, I'd have pictures torn out from Grandpa's magazines on my wall, and then my Neil Armstrong photos and things like that. So aviation kind of just, that was going to be my focus growing up and moving on. I went to Jefferson High School. I grew up in the city over in the Otis Lyle area.
Okay.
And, Jefferson was just down the street, so we'd walk. And then I believe it was 1979, 1980 timeframe. Edison Tech over on Colfax was built, and it was new. And at the time, the city school district actually owned 3 airplanes.
Oh, wow.
They had 2 airplanes. Actually, all 3 were at the airport. 2 of them were flight worthy, and there was a twin engine one that was not, and that was for to learn how to work on aircraft. So they had that aircraft brought over to Edison, and there was a work area there where you learned how to work on aircrafts and eventually lead up to being able to take your license and get your airframes and power plant license to be able to officially, go out in the workforce and work on aircraft.
Wow.
They also had flight operations too. So I got involved in that and started learning how to fly.
Edison, was that awesome back then? That's
Yes,
pretty
it was.
impressive because my brother went to Edison and that's how he learned how to be a mechanic. He was hands on, in there, and now he's one of the greatest mechanics out there, I believe, in my eyes. So with all those things that you did and that inspired you and that were inspiring as you were heading towards your mindset of joining the military, was there one thing that you can pinpoint that said I'm going to enlist now? Was there, the movie, a book, the family tradition, something that you did? What was that spark that just made you say, I'm going in, coach?
It was my grandpa.
Okay.
He served during World War II in a civilian capacity. He was, because he did have 5 children, and he was, I believe, at the onset of the war, he was about 32, 33. So, little older than most, but he did work in a lot of the industries here in Rochester. But his father was actually in the U.S. Cavalry, 6 U.S. Cavalry,
Okay.
and died in service down during the Mexican, the border incursions back in the early 20th century. I only came to learn about that just in recent years, but there has been, we have had people on my mom's side, the Zimmer family, who, after coming over from Germany, did serve in the U.S. military, the Army. I was the first Marine in the family, and I just knew,
Nice.
the Marine Corps was just, I don't know. I just knew the first time the recruiter showed up at school, I'm like, where do I sign? I'm
like
ready
it.
to go now. And my parents were like, how fast can you get them out of here?
Yeah, well, that's another thing I was going to ask you. If you could remember back, what was that last conversation like with your family or friends before you headed out on your journey into training?
Gosh, God, it was so long ago. Oh gosh,
Well, was it
like 40.
positive? Was it
Yeah, it
positive?
was. It was definitely positive. There was a lot of, I had a lot of my friends that went with me.
Awesome.
Two of my very best friends, who are still my best friends. One of them. I've introduced you to Jim. He went a month before I did. Brother-in-law, who's married to my one of my older sisters, eventually married my sister, but he was in boot camp with me, and there was about I think 15 of us out of Jefferson, out of the senior class in 1981. Around 15 of us enlisted in the Marine Corps. Some had shorter
That's cool.
careers than others. Some had lengthy, like my brother-in-law did have 22 years, and I know there were a couple others of us that had lengthy careers. But yeah, I remember leaving, the summer, graduating in June, and I just had a couple more months until I'm heading off to Paris Island. And, my dad, my stepdad, Had a lot of friends who were Vietnam veterans and Marines, and they're like, "Yeah, Steve, wait, you're gonna be in for
Yeah.
an awakening."
Yeah.
It's like,
That's what I was gonna ask. What did you think the Marines were gonna? What did you think it was gonna be like, and how quickly did reality set in once you hit those yellow footprints? You know what I mean?
God, I don't think anything actually prepares you for it. You can see documentaries, you can get the firsthand accounts, but until you are pulling up in that swampy, smelly Paris Island at 3 o'clock in the morning, that door opens up and this very serious man in a campaign cover shows up. Shit got real fast. And then
Yeah,
it was like, you didn't even think about the moment that you were in. It was just,
you didn't have
it
time to
just
think.
was,
It was like
you did.
reprogramming, right?
Yeah, it truly was. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, the family, they were excited. My mom was sad to see me go.
naturally.
Yeah, she had her concerns, but yeah, I'm like, Mom, I'll be back. This is my
Yeah.
destiny. This is what I
You got a
want to
job
do.
to
And
do, mom. I got a job to
yeah,
do. That's what you.
yeah,
So
yeah. I said, you'll
when
see
you were
it.
talking, oh no, when you were talking about your job earlier, can you kind of explain your job in civilian terms for the people who are listening that aren't veterans that don't might not understand the MOS?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, my first initial MOS 6026. Basically, what you had is the flight squadrons. I was in the support squadron, HMS 36. So when, say, the pilots had some kind of difficulty with the engine, mechanics, the flight line mechanics go out there, do an assessment. If they can take care of it while it's hanging on the wing, great. If not, they take it off, put it on the stand, send it over to HMS 36. We
Got it.
dig in, we tear that engine apart down to, rights and bolts of it and rebuild it all back up, take it down to the test stand, run a test on it, ship it back over to the squadron. They throw it back on up there, back in the flight operations. These were quick turnarounds too. The days were not, you didn't have a 9 to 5 day. You usually showed up at the squadron about 6 a.m., do formation, and then, get with your shop NCOIC or boss as
Hmm.
your supervisor, and get your daily assignments of what the missions were requiring, what we needed to concentrate on.
Got it.
So we do that, and we kept those birds up in the air. There was no time for those birds to be down.
Hmm.
And on the other side, and I also mentioned the flight line operation. Basically, what you're doing is, again, you're doing tests, inspections. Every aircraft, even civilian, private, military, all are on schedules for components. Airframes have certain hours, say 120 hours before it has to come in, and you take a look at wing joints, mounts,
Yes.
engine mounts. It's just kind of like taking your car in for your annual, and getting all the things taken care of. So we're always constantly ready for a mission. If things go off, KC-130s are your aerial refueling, your gas stations in the sky, so to
You
speak.
need them. You
So
need them for
you
sure. Up and
need
running.
them because the fighters and everything else aren't going anywhere without the support of a
Yeah.
KC-130.
Well, and it's
Their
so it's
elements.
it seems like with your MOS, it seems like you had to have a tight knit group. You guys had to. It was almost like a strong family. You would have to have. The brotherhood and sisterhood had to be strong. And we often hear about the bonds formed in the military. Is there a person that you served with that you believe changed the trajectory of your life in a positive way while you were going through? I mean, because it seems very intense. It seems like you always have to be mission ready. You always got to be boom, boom, boom. Was there anybody to help you get there and to keep you in line to get where you were successful in your MOS?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had a really good tight-knit group of NCOs in our shop, some really seasoned, Marines, even at, who only had maybe 6 or 7 years in and as a sergeant, but they knew those platforms inside and out. And they knew your strengths. They never set you up for failure. Because they knew, there's people's lives on the line here, and the missions, we can't fail on our mission. So you always had somebody, lifting. Definitely have a couple NCOs in mind. One unfortunately has passed away, but
Sorry.
definitely inspirational and encouraging. Always trying to lift you up and move you along.
That's good.
For
I
sure.
mean, we
Yeah.
all know that we have bad leaders and we have good leaders. And I don't even like to talk
absolutely.
about bad leaders, and I don't even ask people, because it's the good leaders are the ones that we should acknowledge. We all had our own, fair share of bad leaders, as everybody that is listening, I'm sure, has had too. And that goes into what I want to ask as well is, the highs and lows of the military. Looking back at it, what was your best day in uniform, if you can remember? And conversely, what was the toughest lesson you had to learn the hard way while you were in the military?
I think, graduation December 17th, 1981, on
Look
that
at that.
parade deck. Yeah,
You remember
it's
what
like,
time it was too?
well, yeah, it was about 12:18 in the afternoon.
Look at that. Look at that. I
It
love
was
it.
it was about 68 degrees out. There's sun. It was cloudy. My girlfriend, who ended up being my wife later years, and my mom were there. So it was great. It was just, everything about that day. To me, it was a feather in my cap. It was like, yeah, there was times I didn't think I was going to make it. And, what the hell am I doing here? No fucking way am I going to make it through this. But again, there's somebody there who's going to pull you up by that bootstring, and just get you to the finish line. And conversely, so you do the same thing. And it's that bond that I still have with some of the, the Marines that I serve. I talk to them all the time. It's, it's a kinship that you don't lose. You never lose it.
Amen.
Absolutely don't lose it. I'm blessed for it too. We're all blessed for it. And it crosses over to the other services too, especially in the veterans world where, we got our, our little competition here and there, but it's all in good nature. We love each other.
What is one thing that you actually find yourself missing from the military?
I really like the structure. I like that every day that, you've got to be on your game. There's no mistakes. You got to be sharp. I like that. I like staying focused. I like that direction. I like that. I definitely miss that. And let me step back too, Sarge, because I didn't answer the second part of your question. And it kind of goes back to what you just earlier said about you got good leaders and you got bad leaders. When it was coming time at the end of my first enlistment and whether or not I was going to re-enlist again, my commanding officer wasn't the kind of leader I wanted to continue to serve under. He had some clash, and I just felt, it was time for me to tap out and take my skills to the next level. And so that's what I did. So that was disappointing. I truly did want to serve 20 years. That was my intentions all along. I wanted to be that career Marine, but life took a different direction.
Yeah.
But
I know you did some fun things in the military, though. I know that you showed me that one plaque that you got. Can you tell us about that? Working on with NASA. What was that all about?
That was post Marine Corps.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, earlier I was touching on when I went to Edison. I started working on getting my pilot's license and my A&P license to work in the civilian sector on aircraft. So after I honorably discharged, I went to Northrop University over by LAX and got my A&P. I was actually recruited out of school by Rockwell International, the Rocketdyne division, to start working on the space shuttle main engines
Amazing.
after the Challenger disaster. So a year after, I started working Rocketdyne on the space shuttle.
Yes, I thought that was something that and I knew it had some kind of relation to what you
Yeah,
love to do
yeah,
and was doing. So that's awesome. So that was an extension of your love before the military, during the military, and you got to do it finally after, and you continue to follow that journey. And that's commitment, and that's dedication, and that's
yeah,
yeah. When I seen that
yeah.
certificate and how it looked, that plaque, I it looked military to me. That's why when I seen it, it was so. That's just because it came from government and so, high up.
Yep,
It's the official
yep,
initial
yep.
there.
Yep, officially from NASA with officially flown mission patch and flag into space. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Gotta
So
admit.
so now that we're going into the transition of you when you transition out of the military, the uniform shift, so to speak. What was the hardest part about hanging up the uniform and becoming, Mr. Shaffner again instead of corporal?
Oh,
What was
God, yeah.
what was the hardest part
you,
about hanging it up?
the toughest part was hanging up those chevrons and saying, I'm no longer in charge. We as I think as NCOs across any of the services, we like to be in charge, right?
Yes.
We like to be in charge. And I have a tendency, even going into a new environment, I kind of insert myself, and kind of let them know, hey, and coming out as a young, cocky Marine, too, you got a little, you know,
Johnny
right,
Bravo. That's a Johnny Bravo, like the
absolutely.
puffy chest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely,
Hey,
and
little mama.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, kind of putting that aside and kind of humbling yourself and understanding that everyone has that bearing, that presence of mind like a military person does. And there were actually a number of veterans in my shop. A couple gentlemen were soldiers and a couple Navy guys. So we had a good crew. So it was never unexpected. We kind of had this hierarchy thing going on, because
Hmm.
we knew each other's rank in the service, and we kind of still respected it in the shop to a degree, because that's just who we were. So yeah, that part was kind of like, yeah, okay, I gotta just bring it down a notch and then just focus.
So your current mission now. Well, I know that you got a lot of things going on, and we'll get into that. But it's a little bit of a two-part question here. Tell us about what you're doing now, Steve, and the second part of it is almost like how does the discipline or perspective you gained in the military show up in your current hobbies that you do now?
Well, just all the structure of uh, I'm very structured, almost to the point of being, overly complicating things, but just structure. I like structure. I like
Hmm.
everything has a place, everything has a name. There has to be structure or I can't move forward. I have to be
Yeah.
mission capable,
So what are
knowing
you
what
doing
I'm going
right
to do.
now? And for your
Right
hobby,
now,
what are you doing now that you're out? I know you do hiking, right? You do hiking, and what else do you
yeah,
do
in the
for your
hiking,
hobby?
yeah, just go. But the hiking, you got to be disciplined, even on days like these snow days. I went out. Yeah, it's easy enough to say, no, I'm not going out there. I don't want to go out there. But I've disciplined myself to know that every day is different. The elements are different. It's just how you approach it. If you're going to say you can't do it, then you're going to have that mindset. You have the mindset on, you look out, yeah, I got 2 feet of snow to go hike through. Well, guess what? Throw on the snowshoes and do it. It's about disciplining your mind. I've never lost the discipline in my mind and the structure.
I
And
love
that
it.
was the biggest thing the military kept, and I've kept. Even in my career post space shuttle and moving on to another career, everything followed me. The structure always follows me everywhere. So I do that in my hobbies, like the what I got going on here in my heritage room. It's I do everything in a structured way. Everyone
Yes.
everyone gets the same amount of treatment, no matter how short their history is or how small the item may. Maybe it's just a postcard like this, right? But
Hmm.
it gets a 3-page write up. It's just
Yeah.
everything. I'm very and I bring that on everything, even in the hiking. You know,
Can you tell us a
people
little bit
make fun of
about
me like,
your about your collecting, about what you do? Because I don't think that they know about that. Your postcards and
yeah,
all that stuff about your other hobby.
yeah. So the you can kind of see I'm sitting in. This is my main heritage hall. I do call it a heritage hall now because as you come down the hall, the walls are covered with photographs of prominent Marines in different eras, and then you come into this room. Right here, I have, gosh, I've lost count, maybe upwards to 1,100 items, everything from discharge documents to collar emblems to uniforms and full service records. It's my way to continue the story of the Marine Corps and all of my brothers and the heroes that I grew up and wanted to walk in the footsteps
I
of.
love
Yeah, and
it.
I always say when those yellow footprints, those are footprints of giants. You're not just, there's a lot of responsibility when you step on those yellow footprints. There's a lot of
Hmm.
history with them. So I bring that here. This is my home. This is my hall. This is my dedication to all the Marines that came before me and after me. I do have current Marines and items in here. It's important to me. It's the
Yeah.
stories need to be told. They need to be forwarded. My son's involved with this with me, and then there's going to come a point where I'm no longer able to maintain it, and he's already kind of contracted to move it forward too.
That
And
is
he knows
awesome.
it. Yeah, he knows the history, and he works along with me on it. It's important to both of us. It's important to all of us. It's our history. It's our heritage, and the story needs to be told. It can't be lost. The
Amen.
voices got to remain strong, and that's part of what I do. It like I was telling you earlier. Yes, they have a value. They have a monetary value, but there's no monetary value to me. It can't be replaced. This cannot be replaced with
Yeah.
money. These are meaningful relics to Marines who served and fought and died and bled in battle. Their story needs to remain loud and strong, and as long as I'm around to tell it, it will continue.
Yeah, no, I
So
like
I
that. And I love when I said in the beginning of our podcast here, I mentioned that it'll be a two-part with Steve, is because we are planning on going to his house and showing you. Because I was there before a couple times, and there's
yeah
so much to see. It is like a personal museum, and we want to showcase all of his hard work and dedication to the veteran community, to the Marines, because he has everything from full-dressed mannequins in actual dress uniforms with awards. He has, I mean, you name it, he has it. He showed me a document where he has a slave that. Can you tell the story about that, just so I don't mess it up? But the slave that
yeah
became a soldier.
yeah. There was I have a pension paperwork to a army soldier who was a slave in Georgia and managed to escape, and he became a free man, and he enlisted in the United States Army. I don't recall the unit. I believe it was the 106th Colored Infantry Regiment. Don't quote me on that. It's been a minute since I've looked at the document, but it's again, it's something I just happened to find
Hmm.
that was probably going to end up in the trash bin. But that's a very important story there.
Yes.
This is a man whose history should be told and heard. It's a very
Yeah.
important part
No,
of
I
our
agree.
story. So
Yeah.
those are the things I keep that we can't lose perspective of the sacrifices of anyone who's served in the military.
Yeah,
This is
well,
my mission. This
we
is
will be
my
showcasing it. We're gonna showcase all that you got to offer. I know that you've been setting up some more things and getting some
yeah.
more areas of your house filled up. So we look forward to being able to show
Yeah,
them in a whole episode all by itself. We're gonna go through, and you're gonna be the tour guide, man. It'll be the first ever, exclusive. Yeah,
I'm looking
you can't.
forward to it. I'm
Yeah,
really looking
you can't
forward to that. I
you
really
can't
am.
even you can't pay admission to get into your place. So you know what I mean. This is exclusive. This is exclusive. But I think it's so
See,
awesome.
thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. It's my retirement gig right now. It's my happy place. It really
keeps you
is.
busy, right?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
does.
how is your definition of service changed now that you're no longer in uniform in service anymore?
It's funny. I don't know if you experienced the same thing, after getting out. It was like, you just kind of leave it behind. Yeah, you serve, you got your pride, but you don't really think about it. I think as I got older, I became more proud. And yeah, that's right. Damn right. I'm a veteran. You know what?
Hmm.
What loud and proud. I'm loud and proud. I definitely feel a stronger kinship to the veterans now than I did earlier, when I was younger, for
Yeah.
sure,
Now,
for sure.
what are you looking forward to coming into 2026 for the veteran community? And what I mean by that is I know that you're more involved in the veteran community. I know you're wanting to do more things yourself to give back to the veteran community. But what is some advice that you would give to try to help the veteran community for a brighter day for tomorrow? And also, what would you like to see changed in the veteran community for the veterans to have a better day? If it was up to you, if you were able to change it yourself, or you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I just want, I was in a place where I didn't know what kind of services were out there, what, people like yourself, Combat News, and putting the word out there. I was blind to a lot of things for a lot of years until this last year it's been a really big wake up for me. Well, people come into your lives for a reason at times when you need them most, and this year was it. And I met other individuals through the Veterans Outreach Center who became very important to me in my growth and where I am right now. I want to let veterans out there who are maybe struggling and not sure about themselves and where they are to know, uh, reach out, reach out. You don't know what you're going to grab onto. It could be a great wake up. It's a great wake up. I want to see more veterans active out there and pushing for our rights. We're a minority amongst minorities. And I've always said we're a very exclusive minority because our veteran community is made up with multiple minorities.
Yeah.
I, you know, I'm going to imagine you said the same thing. We didn't see color in the Marine Corps. If you were African American, you were dark green. You were dark green Marine. That's it. We seen no color.
It's all green, right?
It's all green. I'm green. You're green. We're all green. We're all bullied the same. Brothers from
Yes.
another mother. Period. And I think that's what makes the veteran community even really so much more exclusive and just together because we have that intermixing blood. And
Yeah.
I'd like to see us to come together and push some of the initiatives, some of the things. I'm still educating myself and finding avenues and knowing. I ran into a few different issues trying to get some state benefits this year. Got a lot of pushback from the state, but there are services out there
Hmm.
that can help us, and it's voices like yourself at Combat News to get that out there. And I want to be a part of that. And that's
Yeah.
why, it's important. If I could change, oh gosh, change, man, I don't know how. That's a tough one. That's
Well,
a tough one.
I know you don't like as you're coming, more into the veteran community. I'm not trying to speak for you, but one thing that I do remember that you've always spoken about is that as you're starting to learn how the veteran community works, how everything, works on the outside, as becoming a veteran, because we all don't know what is out there. You're learning that there's a lot of red tape and political pull, agenda when it comes to the veterans and not more veteran led. And I know that we've talked before, the best organizations, the best programs, I should say, are run by veterans who know what it's like to be a veteran.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Who have
yeah.
never forgot what it's like to be a veteran.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is definitely true. I prefer, when I'm looking for services, to know that it's a veteran who has either already received the benefits or services, so he's educated, rather than some third party who's just, passing it on. And you definitely find that a lot at the VA.
Yeah.
Way too many steps and hurdles to get through. Won't go into details, especially on, medical side, how the hoops you got to jump through even when you're in your most agonizing state. It's ridiculous. It
Hmm.
shouldn't be that way. It should be very streamlined.
Yes.
It shouldn't Nobody should need the approval of three different doctors to align with what doctor number one said. Just give us the service, period, and let us heal.
Yeah, and I see with yourself as you're navigating throughout this year, since I've met you, I've noticed and I've seen your growth where you're starting to find yourself, you're starting to find your voice again, and I believe it's because the environment that you're putting yourself in now. I know things with the VOC, the people that you're with at the VOC, very strong minded, there for you. I feel that I'm a very strong and strong minded, and we talk, and I feel that that really does help. And that's what I always encourage veterans is to just, even if you feel like you have nothing, I don't know what to say, it's not about saying anything. It's about giving that aura that I'm here for you, that, I want to uplift you. I want to empower you. Iron sharpens iron. And I just want to tell you that I've seen your growth, whether you feel
Oh,
it or
thank
not.
you.
I know that I've seen you are more able to say, you know what? No, this is how it is. This is how I feel. And I don't care what you say about it. You're not changing it because X, Y, and Z. That's a big step that veterans need to take, I believe, is because you need to stand up for yourself. It's enough of accepting, oh, it's just going to happen. Whatever happens, happens. Well, that's fine. Whatever happens, happens. But you can at least speak up about it because something could change. And I see that in you now. Now you're saying, well, you know what? Let me just try it and see. And you know what I mean? I encourage other veterans to do the same thing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to tell you, now that I'm retired, I retired in April, medically retired. So I feel like I've taken on, like, now I am a veteran. This is my title now. This is my job. So now my job is to help other veterans to navigate the things that I've just experienced if they're in the same
Hmm.
position as me or coming up upon the same position as me.
Yes.
I again, I've had very strong people helping me navigate this roadway, and it's not easy. Where all of our needs are varying, some more than others.
Hmm.
Some people are fine not ever receiving any services or benefits from the VA. Some people, their life is good, and I respect that. There are veterans who aren't in that position and need the help. And
Hmm.
that's my role now. That's the role I want to take on moving forward. That's my new career now. That's my career. Educating
Yeah.
myself through you and the other Bill and everyone. It's important to me because I know how it feels to be kind of on the outside looking in and
Yeah.
feeling unimportant.
Yeah.
I feel
And you,
important again.
well, us at Combat News, we just want to uplift and encourage people, and just we have it both ways. We have people who will listen and they support us, but they don't like how we come across. Maybe they don't like the information that we put out, but we're not doing it for if people like it or not. Most of the information is not information that is likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If a veteran has an issue and we're speaking about it and it has to do with certain things, we can
it's just
understand
the
where,
truth. It's the truth.
right.
So, truth hurts some people. That truth hurts. In a
And
lot
just
of
like with
instances,
us,
yeah,
we think people talk about us. We need, and it's not a talking about gossiping. What we need to understand as veterans, it's called holding us accountable. If it's a veteran, if it's veteran to veteran, we should, no matter what, be able to say, hey, I don't like what you're doing because of X, Y, and Z. The other veterans just say, oh, okay, I understand, well, this is why I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and have a dialogue. And if anything, you're going to agree to disagree, but at least you'll understand where that person is coming from. You know what I mean? I think
right,
information and words matter. And I
absolutely.
I think that, whether you, well, not you yourself, but whether people, believe like you do, that we put out good information, which I appreciate, you saying that. I encourage people who believe the opposite of you to give us a chance to show you that we're just putting out information that veterans like Steve, veterans like Chris that we had on the show, like Lieutenant Colonel Carey, who works with the PFC Dwyer program. We're just putting out information that we've heard that veterans need to get out. Am I right, Steve? This is not like stuff
Yeah,
that, yeah, I mean, we're not
right.
we're not like searching for this stuff. Veterans are just
No,
like yourself, feel like, hey, I need some help. I don't know what to do with this. So what we do is we work together. And I know with you, Steve, your testimony already has encouraged people. I know us through Combat News. You've been on a couple of our X Spaces, and I just want to tell you that there's a lot of people that consider you a battle buddy, and they're appreciative of you because of what you brought to the table through the community with the X platform of having, through the Veterans Open Forum that Combat News hosts. And I see you growing with that as well. And can you tell us a little bit about how has it felt, I guess you could say, seeing that just within this past year, how when you get into a funk, let's say in life, how much easier it is to get out of that funk when you have that peer-to-peer brotherhood, sisterhood that you have now with places like the VOC programs and like what you said with us at Combat News. Can you tell us a little bit about that, just to hopefully encourage other veterans that feel the same way, that, hey, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try to go to these organizations and see what they're all about.
yeah, absolutely. I feel very blessed. There are handful of people that have come into my life this last year, you being one of them, who've been very instrumental in kind of me bringing me from up here down to here and leveling the playing field for me personally. It's helped me tremendously to be able to navigate a lot of these roads and things, everything from my disabilities to the VA and all the other, just the brotherhood. I can talk to you anytime. It's, you got my back, I got your back. It feels good. And it's through this, I want to do the same.
Yeah. You
We,
feel,
we
you
got
see
to
what
work
it's
together.
like.
I feel it from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I think instinctively, you just want to give back because there's another brother or sister out there who's in some way in the same position and is,
Yes.
scratching their head or, don't know if they have a tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
And
there
we
is a
share the
tomorrow.
knowledge.
We share the knowledge. You got to know there are lifelines out there. Never give up. And that's what I
Yes.
learned this year. Never give up. Never give up.
Amen.
I started giving up, but now, no, I don't give up. I push on
Amen.
for the next day, and it's
Yeah.
all about the people that have come into my life through these veteran organizations. Just in the last 9-10 months, it's been transformative for me. It really has on
That's
many
awesome.
different levels. Many different levels.
Yeah.
Some people might have even referred to me as just this hard asshole. I think my perspective is greatly been softened, and I have a lot more empathy and
Mm-hmm.
sympathy and understanding, and it's because of people that have come into my life through the veteran community that have
Yeah.
like, I'm like, wow, this feels good. It
And
just it
together, together what what you were saying with everybody that's come into your life, do you feel that now with all this information that you have now coming from all the different organizations, what's out there, the good, the bad, the ugly that you hear from all these different veterans and stuff, do you feel being involved that way helps you navigate and understand the pros and cons and the good and the bad that we deal with in the community now? Does it make you feel is it a little bit easier to navigate life because now you know the demographics and now you kind of get a gist of connecting the dots and why things could happen, money, power, respect, as sad as it
Yeah,
sounds?
well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I still got a little bit blinders on, but my field of vision is definitely open wide up, open. I've seen the good and I've seen the bad. I don't let the bad affect me. Just,
Correct, right?
just you put that aside and move forward and know there's more good than bad.
Amen.
There's there's more positive services and people out there than people trying to pull you down. And you're
Yeah.
right. That's where our voice as a community need to come together and just
Yes.
squash the naysayers and push them aside. And where they're no longer a voice, they're no
Hmm.
longer the static, they're no longer, a viable voice to listen to.
Yeah, especially when the veterans us coming together that have no skin in the game. We're the ones that are affected directly by the things that happen, by policies and stuff that get pushed down. And I think sometimes people, in the military, we always say, and I always was a firm believer of wear the rank, don't let the rank wear you, and never forget where you came from. So even as you move up, through the echelon of being a veteran in the community, advocating and stuff, always, 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 and I'm not saying that you will, but never forget what it's like to need that hand up. You know what I'm saying? You never needed a hand out, you needed a hand up. And I think that separates true veterans that really
Well,
have
I
been
think you
through it. All right, welcome back with Conversations with Sarge. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but remember, we have a snowstorm. We are in Rochester, New York, and it's buried and cold, -degrees. So welcome back, Steve. We
yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
you getting back on with us. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just so people remember what we were on the conversation of, when I was talking about what piece of advice would you give your younger self before you signed the papers to enlist, during your service, and you're transitioning out of the military?
Well, I guess before I signed the papers, I guess I tell my younger self, don't believe all the stories that you've heard from the prior Marines. Coming there. eh, there's going to be a buildup. There's going to be a buildup. Don't be afraid though. Don't be afraid. Go in the natural and just do it. Do what you do what you signed on the line for, and be happy that you made the right decision. During the height of my service, I probably tell myself, listen to your NCOs. They know better than I do. It's a part of the learning curve. They're there to nurture you. They're not there to bring you down. Believe in the mission and know that they actually do have your back. There's times that you've seen that you may have not have thought that, but it's that tough love. Believe in that tough love. Because in the military, it's exactly what you got to have. Man, going back into civilian life, I'd say to myself, what did you think of the last 4 years? Did you make the right decision or not? And I would have to say to my older self, yeah, you did make the right decision because it's brought you to this point in life at 62 years old that a lot of the things that you learn during your service are valuable life lessons and a roadmap to success and just to keep navigating that. And and it did. It's brought me to my 63rd year, nearly here on planet Earth in the next few weeks. And like to say right now, I'm at a happy place. And what I want to encourage all veterans, especially if you're dealing with a little too much mental baggage, get yourself out on the trails and do some hiking. Presently, I'm with a great group on Thursdays out of the Veterans Outreach Center. I ask any veteran, you don't have to even come with baggage, just to come out on the trails. It's about the brotherhood and sisterhood. We got a great leader out there in Jeff Klein. He
Yes,
has
he is
everybody's
great.
back, and he's been a great tool. He's been a great tool for me this year, and a driving force in getting me out of that dark place that I've been in for quite a long time. I'm on a nice direct path, and I encourage every single veteran, get out on the trails. Come out on Thursdays from 9:30 to 12:30 on Thursdays. Come out with our group. I'm also starting up a group of veterans, male only. Sorry, sisters, but this is a male only hiking group. I'd like to see some of the us veterans dealing with a little perhaps traumas and PTSD issues, and to come on out with us brothers and hit the trails. There's just going to be a good time out, some talk. Doesn't have to be about anything. Just getting out in nature. Studies show nature, hiking helps, gives you the vitality, gives you that mental strength. And if it wasn't for that hiking with me this year, I don't know where I'd be. But the hiking has been my best mental health medicine. So I encourage you all to please come out with me or other groups or by yourself or a loved one. It is great medicine. Great medicine.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
free medicine. So please,
Yes.
please come on out. Join
And
us.
I definitely have to say, yeah, I've seen your growth. I see what you're speaking of, how much it's helped you. In the year that I've been friends with you, I see it, and that's why I'm a big promoter of everything that you are a part of, because I see how much it affects you. I see how it affects other brothers and sisters that are here in our area, and I also have to piggyback off of you, and I encourage everybody to get out there. If I didn't have the medical issues that I have, I'd be out there. The
I know
most
you
I could do
would.
is golfing and walking, but I still, people know I
That's
unlock
it,
my
man.
cart so I
You're
can get
still
closer
out
to the
there.
green.
Right. You're out there. That's all we need, And it's Western New York on the Facebook page. I believe it is called Western New York Hiking. I'll post another listing on it at some point today. I know I've got some veterans with interest, so I will be getting back to everybody and hopefully grow this group. And it's just, again, it's us as a veteran community coming together, supporting each other.
Yeah.
It's
Now, is
supporting
there an
each other.
email
We all
address?
have you can email me at ST Sierra Tango Sierra Hotel Alpha Foxtrot 63 at gmail.com. That's my email. You can directly send me a message. Just put hiking in the subject matter, and I'll definitely get back to you. And let's
Yes.
form a good, strong group.
Yes.
It's no different than being out there, out there in the fields or whatever. It's about the brotherhood, having each other's back,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're going to do.
It is. And if anybody forgets or can't has trouble getting in contact with him, feel free to reach out to us at Combat News, any of our social medias. We will get you directly linked up with him. So if you are having issues,
Yeah,
contact us and we can make it happen. We'll get you in contact with him.
or just send me a friend request on Facebook. Also, I'll take your friend requests also. So
Yeah.
We'll
Just
get
let
a
them
hold
know.
of you.
Let them know you're not a scammer, and just tell them, hey, hiking, some hiking, because we're
Yeah.
veterans. We see somebody we don't know, we're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
No, but no, Steve, thank you so much, for your
Yeah.
testimony, because I
Absolutely.
know that you've encouraged me as a friend, and I know that you know that, or well, I know that you've said that I have encouraged you, and I hope this
Yep.
conversation tonight that we've had is going to encourage our fellow brothers and sisters to look for that light at the end of the tunnel,
Yep.
because
Let's pay it forward.
we all come from the same walk of life. We all want the same, but sometimes we don't know how to get there. But together in our testimonies, our journeys, that's what's going to bring us together. That's where we relate, and that's where we begin to form our brigade back at home. We gotta form our own brigade back at home. Our own companies. We got the hiking company with Steve. We got the combat news company. You know what I mean? And it's a whole community. But if anybody is looking to get out and about, and you're in our local area, you want to hike, please reach out to Steve, because you see, based upon his testimony, his journey, how impactful this is. And if we can give you any encouragement to just try to see if it will work for you, because you don't know until you try, right, Steve?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it feels good. I'm telling you, it feels so good. Mind, spirit, and body. It really does.
Absolutely.
It's the full Monty for sure.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, listen, thank you so much for giving us your time. And we will be having
Absolutely.
part 2 with you, where we're going to go through your house and have a tour of all that great, memorabilia. I
Yeah.
don't want to call it memorabilia. It is memorabilia, right? Is that an okay
Yeah.
term to use?
Yeah.
Memorabilia?
Yeah.
That doesn't
I use
seem
I use relics,
relics. Yeah.
items, memorabilia. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of those Marines, if you called them relics, they'd whoop the
True
They're like, we're
story.
not relics. But no, and God bless you for you doing that, man. And keep
God
up the
bless
good
you,
work.
brother.
I know we're gonna have episode 2, like I said, with you. We're gonna go through, and you can show us your nice little museum that you got going over there with your
Yeah.
relics memorabilia. But thank you so much again, Steve. And this is
Yeah. Thank you.
Conversations with Sarge, and this is Steve. And Steve, I can't say enough good things, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, remember that us veterans, we need to stick together and lift each other up.
Thank you so much, Sarge. It's
So,
been a pleasure. Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. Well,
Love
we'll
you,
be talking
brother.
to you
Love
soon,
you.
all right? Love you too, my man. God
Absolutely.
bless.
Absolutely. God bless.
Yeah. 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 Check the mic, 1, 2, this ain't no drill, this is the truth. From Roxas to streets, hear the veterans' youth and the wisdom of ages, battle hardened and true.